Now let's get started with building a roof. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and close the project browser. Again, you can open and close the project browser and the library browser by using these two buttons in your toolbar. To start with, I'll go ahead and open a brand new plan to demonstrate the roof tools. And I'll just go ahead and draw a rectangular building. And I'll go ahead and turn my temporary dimensions back on. And then we'll just make this building 50 feet by 30 feet. And I'll just put one interior wall in here. Now we'll go to the Roof Tools parent tool, and we're going to use the automatic Build Roof tool. The Build Roof tool gets its information for how to generate the roof from 3 different places. First of all, the Build Roof tool sets up the defaults for how this roof will build. Right now, the default pitch is set at 8 and 12. The default overhangs at the eave and the gable are set at 18 inches. There are other things you can set as default when you build the roof. If I go ahead and click OK now, Chief is not going to build the roof, but I've set the defaults. The second place that the Build Roof tool gets its information is from each room. If I hit my spacebar and double-click inside of this room and go to the Structure panel, the ceiling height will tell the roof how high to build. It'll place the baseline of this roof right at the top of the wall at 109 1/8 inches. Another thing that affects how the roof will build is if you have this box checked. If I uncheck this box and click OK, the roof will now build over this room, but not over this room. I'll go ahead and build the roof right now. Click on my automatic Build Roof tool and click on Build Roof Planes. We'll accept all of these defaults and go ahead and click OK. And then we'll take a perspective full overview of this. And as you can see, the Roof tool has ignored this room and built the roof over the other room. I'll double-click again inside of this room and go to the Structure panel and replace the roof over this room. I'll go ahead and click OK, and we'll rebuild that roof. I'll go back to the automatic Build Roof tool, and this time I'm going to use the Auto Rebuild Roofs tool. This tool will regenerate the roof every time we make a change. I'll go ahead and click OK now, and the roof will now build over the entire building. And let's go back to the floor plan. Now, if I double-click inside this room and change the ceiling height determines how high the roof will build. I'll change the ceiling height to 144 inches. Hit my Tab key to see that the other fields update and my preview pane updates, and click OK. And you can see that the roof now has built differently. We'll take a look again at that perspective full overview. Here in the perspective full overview, you can see that the roof on this part of the building has built higher. The roof on this part of the building has built down lower. I'll go ahead and click Undo to bring that roof back down, and then go back to the floor plan view. The second place that the Roof tool gets its information is from each individual wall that a roof plane bears on. For instance, this roof plane is bearing on this wall. This roof plane is bearing on this wall, and so forth. So if I double-click on a wall, I'll go to the Roof panel. I have directives for how the roof will build on this wall. For instance, I can make this a full gable wall. I'll go ahead and click OK, and take a look again at the perspective full overview. And you can see here that we have a gable end on this end of the building. There's another way to create a gable end easily. On this wall, I'll select the wall, and in my Edit toolbar at the bottom, I have a tool to change to gable wall. When I click on this, you can see that I have now another gable wall on the other end. We'll go back to the floor plan view and make a couple of changes to the side walls. I'll select one, hold down my Shift key and select the other wall, and open them both up at the same time. Go to the Roof panel tool. Now I want to build a gambrel roof, so I want to add an upper pitch. I'll click on Upper Pitch here, and then change the lower pitch, which is this one, to a steep 14 and 12. And then the upper pitch I want to be a shallower 4 and 12. Then I need to decide where I want this change to happen. The roof will come up from the baseline at the outer edge of the exterior side of this wall, come in a certain distance, and then change pitch. I can change that at a specific height off of the floor, or a distance in from that baseline. So I'll change the in from baseline to 7 feet. I'll go ahead and click OK here, and Chief has built 4 roof planes. The lower part of the roof has the lower roof pitch. The upper part of the roof has the higher roof pitch. We'll take a look again at our perspective full overview. And you can see our gambrel roof. If I go back to the floor plan and select those 2 walls again, open them up and go to the roof panel, I can invert these 2 roof pitches. I'll change the lower pitch to 4 and the upper pitch to 12. And then I need to make sure to change my in from baseline again. When I change these numbers updated. So we'll go back here and change this back to 7 feet and click OK. The floor plan doesn't look any different, but if we go to the perspective full overview, this certainly looks different. I'll go back to the floor plan again, and we'll change these roof directives back to follow the defaults. Uncheck the box for upper pitch and type D in here, and then hit my Tab key so that it follows the default pitch, and click OK. Another option is if I click on this wall and go to the roof panel, this is a full gable wall, but I could add an upper pitch for a half hip wall. I'll leave the upper pitch at 6 and 12, and I'll come in from the baseline 9 feet. I'll go ahead and click OK here, and Chief will build a half hip roof. You can also manually edit and manually create roof planes. For instance, if I wanted to change this end again back to a hip roof, I can edit these roof planes that I've built automatically. Now when I edit a roof plane built automatically, Chief will ask me if I want to turn off Auto Rebuild Roofs. So I'll click on Yes, I'll turn off Auto Rebuild Roofs. We'll select this roof plane and drag this back to a 45-degree angle. If I open that perspective full overview, you can see now that I have a hole in my roof. What I can do now is build a manual roof plane to close up this hole. We'll go back to the Roof Tools parent tool and select that Manual Roof Plane tool. To draw a roof plane manually, you're going to start by clicking and dragging a line to form the baseline. Generally that's going to be on the outside edge of the main layer of a wall. Then I'll release my mouse button, but the roof tool is still active. Now I want to move in the upslope direction and then click where I want the roof plane to stop. We'll look again at that perspective full overview, and you can see I've drawn a roof plane. This roof plane, if I double click on it, you can see follows the default pitch of 8 and 12. Now we'll go back to the floor plan view and we'll close up this space. First I'll select the roof plane and you'll see the edit handles on each side. This is a polyline based object and you can edit this roof plane by using these edit handles. I'll select this corner and drag it to the center of this line and then select this corner and join it to that one. Now I need to close up this space and form a hip. So I'll click on this edge to activate it. You can tell the active edge because the square edit handle is larger than the edit handles on the other 2 sides. With that edge active, I'll click on my Join Roof Planes tool in my Edit toolbar at the bottom, and then click on this roof plane to join these 2 roof planes perfectly in a hip. Then I'll do the same on this side. Activate that edge, click on my Join Roof Planes tool, and click on this edge to create a hip on that side. Go back to my perspective full overview, and you can see here that I have a perfect hip roof on that side. There are many other ways to create custom roof designs by using manual roof planes and editing roof planes. You can learn more about this by going to your online training videos and doing a search for roofs. For now, we'll go ahead and close this plan and we'll create a roof over our new project. So we've already got the first and second floors of our building built. We'll take a perspective full overview of this, and I'm just going to go ahead and automatically build a roof over this building. We'll go to our Roof Tools, Build a Roof, accept all the defaults and click OK. So this is how the roof would build with all of the defaults. Over the garage there is no second floor, so the roof planes are bearing on the first floor walls. Over the rest of the building, the roof planes are bearing on the second floor walls. But I want to make several changes to the roof planes. For instance, I want to make this a gable end and this a gable end. So I'll go back to that roof tool click on the Automatic Roof tool and click on Auto Rebuild Roofs. Then we'll select this wall and make it a gable end. We'll select this wall, and here we want to make sure to click on the second floor wall, not the first floor wall, because the roof directives for this roof plane will come off the second floor wall. Click on that Change to Gable End tool, and then I'm going to spin it around to this side, and I want to make this end a gable end. Now I need to make some changes because I want part of this roof plane to be a gable end. So I'll go back to the floor plan view. This wall right now is a gable end. I want this wall to be a gable end only up to this point where it aligns here. So there's two ways to do this. I could select this wall and then temporarily just close off this space and then break this wall right at this intersection. I'll go up to the Break Wall tool and break that wall here. Then select this part of the wall, double click on it, go to the roof panel and change it to a full gable wall. And then just simply move this wall back to open up that space again. The other way is to use a gable line. I'll go ahead and undo this. We'll go back to our Roof Tools parent tool and use the gable roof line. With this, what you're going to do is draw a line outside of the wall where you want the gable to form. But I want to make sure that it's the exact length of this wall. So I'm going to draw this line from the outside edge of this wall all the way through to the outside edge of this wall, and then select that line and then move it over towards this wall and use my temporary dimension. I'll click on this temporary dimension, and I want this line to move all the way to the edge of the wall, which would be to 0 feet, and then past the wall. So I'm going to type in here a negative number. You want your gable line to be outside of the wall, not right on top of it. So I'll type in here a -4 inches and click Enter. That will move that gable line right to the outside edge. And it did exactly what breaking the wall did. It just formed a gable from this point to this point on the wall, as you can see here in our camera view. The other thing I want to do is change the garage roof to be a lower slope. So back in the floor plan view, I'll go down to the first floor level because these roof planes are bearing on the first floor level. Select both of these walls by holding down my Shift key and use my Open Object tool to open up the wall specification dialog. Go to the roof panel, and here I want to override the pitch and change this to a 4/12 pitch. Go ahead and click OK, and then go back to that camera view, and you'll notice now that this is a lower pitch. So if I wanted a full second story on this building, this is how I would build the roof. However, what I really want here is what's called a 1.5 stories. And there's a couple of ways to do this. I'll demonstrate the most common way to do it by creating again a new plan. Then I'll just draw a rectangular building, make it 2 stories, and add a couple of doors and windows. So now, if I want to build a 1.5 stories, where the second floor essentially is taking up attic space and doesn't have full height walls, I could, from the first floor level, build the roof and ignore the second floor. When I do that, what I'll want to do is set up the roof directives in the walls on my first floor level, because Chief is going to be ignoring the second floor altogether. So I'll select both of these end walls and make them gable ends. And then we'll go to the Build Roof tool and the Automatic Build Roof tool. I'll build the roof planes, and I'll build it at a nice steep pitch of 12 and 12. And then I want to ignore the top floor. I'll go ahead and click OK now, and then we'll take a look at this first with a perspective view. As you can see, the roof planes are bearing on the first floor walls. However, let's take another look with a back-clipped cross-section. In the back-clipped cross-section, you can see that the roof planes bear right on the top of these walls. So really what I want to do is allow a little height for the floor platform, and then maybe for a short knee wall right above that. So from here, I'll just go back to my roof tools and my Automatic Build Roof tool, build the roof planes again, accept the defaults and ignore the second floor, but this time I want to raise the roof from the ceiling height. I'll give it 36 inches to allow for about 12 inches for the floor platform and about 24 inches for knee walls above the platform. And we'll go ahead and click OK. So now we have that second floor level with a short knee wall, and the rooms take up attic space. This is one way to do it. The other thing we might want to do here is remove the flat ceiling from the second floor area. So back in the floor plan view, I'll go back up to the second floor, and you'll notice here these black dotted lines. These indicate where the ceiling break is. In that cross section, the ceiling break is where the ceiling follows the roof planes at a slope and then stop and flatten out. This is the ceiling break point right here. So back in that floor plan view, if I don't want a flat ceiling at all, I'll go to the structure panel and remove the ceiling over this room. Click OK and take a look again at that cross section. I now have an open vaulted ceiling on that second floor level. So that's one way to do a floor and a half. I'll go ahead and close this plan. And then we'll make a story and a half out of our existing building by editing the existing roof planes. I'm going to tile the two views, which you can do by going to your Window drop-down menu and click on Tile Vertically or Tile Horizontally. But in the drop-down menus, what you see over here on the right are hotkeys. So if I hold down my Shift key and hit the F6 key, it will tile them vertically. This may not work on your computer if your function keys are programmed for something specifically on your computer. So here I'm going to hold down my Shift key and hit my F6 key. That will tile these two views. And I can toggle between working in this view or working in the floor plan view by simply clicking on the title bar at the top. So here in my floor plan, we'll fill the window with the building. And then I'm going to delete this interior wall. And then I want to edit these roof planes. So I'm going to use that Active Tools selection mode. I'll go up here and select my Roof Tools parent tool, which automatically activates the roof plane tool. With that tool active in my floor plan, I can hold down my Shift key and then click and drag a box around the entire building. This will select only roof planes because the roof plane tool is active. Now I'm going to open up all of those roof planes at one time, and I'm going to change the pitch here to 12 and 12. I'll go ahead and click OK now, and that will turn off my auto rebuild roofs. Now I want to lower these roof planes down. The ceiling height in here is 97 1/8 inches. If I want my knee walls to be 24 inches tall, then I'll need to move my roof planes down 73 1/8 inches. I'll go ahead and click OK, and then select that roof tool again. Hold down my Shift key and select all my roof planes, and this time I'm going to use my Transform Replicate tool. This is one of my favorite tools in Chief Architect because it can do many things, including copying items, moving items, rotating, resizing, and reflecting items. Here I simply want to move my roof planes. In the floor plan view, the X delta is right and left on your screen. The Y delta is up and down on your screen. So if I wanted to move my roof planes over to the right, I would put in a positive number in the X delta. To move them to the left, I'd put in a negative number. In the Y delta, if I type a positive number, it'll move them up on my screen. A negative number will move them down. The Z delta is in the height direction, or if you're looking at the floor plan, in the depth direction. I want to move these down 73 1/8 inches. So I'll type in minus 73.125 and click OK. And that will move my roof planes all at the same time down so that now if I take a back clipped cross section, you can see that I have the short knee walls and the rest of my second floor is taking up attic space. Back in that floor plan view, I'll go ahead and remove the flat ceiling over this room and over this room. And you can see now that I have a full vaulted ceiling. Now we can add a couple of windows. Now let's take a camera view so that we can see what our second floor looks like. Now I want to go ahead and add some dormers to my roof. So first I'm going to go ahead and close this cross section, And then we'll go back up to the Roof Tools parent tool. And in the Roof Tools parent tool, you have two dormer tools, the Auto Dormer and the Auto Floating Dormer. I'll go to the Auto Floating Dormer, and then I want to click here where the roof plane is. The dormer is placed according to, again, defaults that you can set up before you place them. But once you've placed them, then you can edit them. You can move them using the Move Edit handle and the temporary dimensions. For instance, if I want to move this to 5 feet from the outside of the wall, I can type in 5 feet, but here I want to make sure to use the Move Object tool here on the right. If I use this one, it'll move only this wall of the dormer and change the width. So I'll click on this one and then hit Enter. You can change the width by using the Edit handles or the temporary dimensions. Once you've placed it, you can also edit the window. If I double click here on the window, I can change the size and edit it just like any other window. You can also change the wall type that your dormer is using. If I click on the side of the dormer to select the dormer and double click to open the dormer specification dialog, I have several options here. I could change the roof type that this dormer is using. For instance, right now it's a gable, and the pitch on this gable is following the default roof pitch of 12 and 12. I can change this here, or change it to a shed type dormer, or a gambrel, mansard, or barrel roof. If I go to the Walls panel, I can change the wall type that it's using. I can also change the height of the dormer walls, and I can change the width of it here. The other dormer tool that you have in your Roof Tools parent tool is your Auto Dormer. The Auto Dormer requires an interior wall for support. So I'll go to the Wall Tools parent tool and select my straight interior wall, and then draw a wall along this side. Then we'll move this into position, let's say 60 inches. And then I want this space to be attic space. So I'll double click in here and assign the attic room type. That will remove the floor finish and the ceiling finish. Now I'll go back to my Roof Tools and go to my Auto Dormer. We'll click on this, and with this tool I want to click inside the attic space, not inside the room, but inside the attic space, to place my dormer. And just like this one, you can move it using your edit handles or temporary dimensions. And we'll take a look at this in the camera view. We can change the roof type, we can change the pitch, we can change the wall type it's using, and set the height and width here. And we can change the window. Another thing we can do with a dormer is to copy it. I'll select this one and use my Transform Replicate tool. Make one copy by clicking on Copy, and then move the copy over to the right on my floor plan view 14 foot 6 inches. You can find training videos on the website at chiefarchitect.com for creating dormers, editing dormers, and building dormers manually.